Hello, Adam Cook from godisgeek.com, joined by Chris White. How are you, Chris?
Oh, good man. How are you?
I am interested, excited, and trepidatious because you have been to play quite a bit of Anthem, the upcoming, shooter online. I don't know. I was going to say RPG, but we'll get to that. From BioWare and EA, and I just want to say right up front, this is going to be kind of more of a primer because you got to see quite a lot of the game, some of which we can't talk about just yet. Come back to godisgeek.com and the channel in general to see that stuff then. But for now, I want to start asking you about this game, because this game has got some level of hype behind it. It's impossible to start without saying that people are comparing it to Destiny. The thing that I want to know, personally, and this is the thing I want to ask you, desperate to know, is how does it feel when you're playing it?
Okay, so the one takeaway, the most important thing about this is and how it is, quite frankly, some of the best I've played in a long time. Just because the world itself is huge, but with online games, open world games, you're mostly on a level, so you're riding around a whole level of open world. This is literal. You go underwater, you go in the air, you go everywhere, and the way you do so, like you're flying, is one of the most, it's the most satisfying things about it, is where, say you're taking out a group of enemies, then your next objective appears, you just jump and then start flying around.
And how do you do that specifically? So the flying, because when I first saw it, I thought it was going to be like a kind of Destiny thing where you can boost a little bit, but from what the footage I've seen now, it kind of seems like you can just fly in these javelin suits.
There is a limit, but it can be affected by certain things. So you run by pressing down the left analog, and then
click it in.
Yeah, you click it in, and then to fly you jump and then click it in.
Okay.
So it's very easy to kind of do, and you can do it whenever you want. I mean, it only took me half an hour to get going with that. And then you've got like a meter where your kind of jetpack, or whatever you want to call it, but that part of your javelin that allows you to fly starts to overheat. However, there's a lot of waterfalls and dripping water and that kind of thing, whereas if you fly through it cools it down and then it reduces again. So you can spend quite a lot of time in the air, and that's the kind of way they've stopped it from overheating too much, which is quite smart, really.
And so if you fly into a battle, so to speak, and you land and start shooting and doing the main stuff there, is the jetpack kind of on a cooldown? Like, and what I'm getting at is, if you're in the middle of a battle, is there a point where the cooldown's reached, you can just jump up and fly off and get out of dodge, kind of thing?
Yeah, it seemed pretty quick, to be honest. I think that might depend on what suit you take, but another good thing about the flying is that, say you are approaching a battle and there's people you have to shoot, you can click the right stick to hover in the air. So you can hover above ground. You can fire your guns when you're in the air, fire any of your kind of special abilities and stuff like that, because you've got like different parts of your javelin that will allow you to fire missiles, or like one of the javelins is called Storm, and that's got kind of elemental damage, which has got fire and ice, which you can use. You've also got an ultimate, which I'm assuming you acquire it by the more kills you get. It wasn't made too clear, but you press up on the D-pad, and especially like the Colossus, which is the best suit there is for me, it does a hell of a lot of damage.
So the Colossus is the one that can, the only one that can wield like heavy weapons.
Heavy weaponry, yeah, and it really is a beast.
So how do the guns feel? Like, because obviously it's a third-person game, primarily, I suppose, isn't it? When you're out and about expeditions and that, like, how does it feel? It's obviously a numbers game in that, the enemies have numbers and you shoot them and your bullets do numbers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it? What are we talking there?
So the weapons from the kind of start of the game are, I mean, the enemies will level up as you level up. So one gun will always do the same amount of damage to a character, an enemy, whatever you kind of fire at. But the feel of them is very good, because like they've all got certain recoil, and the vibration as well was really satisfying when you've got, say, your Colossus and he's firing off the big kind of assault rifle railgun kind of thing. And then you've got kind of the Inceptor, which is the kind of the agile fast suit, which has kind of just got at the point I was playing, it was just a pistol, so it wasn't doing a lot of damage. But the speed in which you're getting around, if you like that kind of thing, works perfectly. But there's a lot of range in the guns, and they all feel kind of different depending on what gun you've got or what suit you're wearing.
So if you're saying that the enemy's level with you, that sounds weird, because like a lot of this game is about customization. I know that much. There's lots of customization involved. Not just the suits.
I just mean, say you lower level, the enemies aren't as difficult as they are when they get further on. So.
Sorry. I misunderstood, because I was thinking that's a really strange decision. Because otherwise there's no point in upgrading your gear. That's because I wanted to get into customization. Can you talk about any of that, or?
Little bits. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously there's plenty of it. There's upgrades to your weaponry and your suit, which you spend money on. But you've
in-game
money, yeah, which you acquire like you do in any other game by completing missions and that kind of thing. You find a lot of items on the battlefield as well. There's a lot of kind of different types, whether it be a gun or armor, and then you've also got the ability to completely customize your suit in terms of like just the aesthetically, like the different colors or different shines to certain parts of your armor, or you can buy better kind of like there's a better helmets for your armor and stuff like that. There's a hell of a lot in there, and it has an element of Monster Hunter World in that sense, where you go out into the world, because there's different types of ways to play Anthem, and that was one of the things I didn't really understand before playing it. But like one of them is free play, where you just go into the world and you stumble across all sorts of things, and you can
kind of Monster Hunter World, like expeditions.
Yeah, it
almost.
is. Yeah, it is. And that was kind of one of the coolest parts of it, is that where you don't have to, like, if you do a mission, the mission doesn't end and then you just get to carry on running around. The mission ends, you go back to Fort Tarsis, and you can go to the Forge, which is where you do all your leveling up and your customization. You can go around the fort and find bits of codex, which explores the world a bit more, so it gives you a bit more of a feel of what's going on, and as well as the story and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot to it.
In terms of, obviously you're playing at a media event where there's lots of other people playing.
Yeah.
Like, it's a game designed for a four-player party.
Yeah.
And you mentioned like some of the different javelins, like one of them has elemental and stuff. Does that all? Is it a kind of fire, ice, rock, paper, scissors kind of thing where everything combines? If you're playing it kind of to its fullest, playing together with like-minded people, is it like, again, this is kind of part one, I guess, like the early days of Anthem, but. Do you get the impression from the early stuff that it's obviously designed to be played with friends, but do you feel like, what do you feel like in terms of content? Is there enough there for if you just want to play it on your own, or is it really designed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are you looking at?
I think you can most definitely play it on your own, and there's a lot there in terms of like the missions to do them on your own. There's other stuff which we'll talk about down the line with other videos, but as a game, I am going to love playing it with, say, you and Mick or Nicola or Gary, whoever, because there is a hell of a lot in every kind of suit that does feel different, and you will all find that one that you prefer, and you'll be able to work together and find ways to take out the enemy, because different enemies attack differently. They're smaller, they're taller, they fly, they don't fly. So the Colossus is perfect for groundwork, whilst it can hover and it can fly. The storm
on that subject. Sorry, Chris. On the terms of the Colossus, I saw one of their weapons. His weapons it's like a Gatling gun that it kind of, as it winds up, it seems to almost be getting more powerful. Like it's sort of, there's a big wind up to it. It's not like pulling out a pistol going bang 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 bang. It winds up, so you're kind of vulnerable at the start, but obviously you're a big hulking Goliath thing. Is that just like a base weapon, or was that a sort of special weapon, if you know what I mean?
I think you've got two weapons to choose from, which you can equip, and it doesn't take long before to earn that. I think it's like level 3. So after,
it's interesting you mentioned how you like the Colossus, because I was watching that and like this kind of, it's still very much what it sounds like. This big hulking thing, and like it's slow but it's powerful. And I was looking at the movement of the javelins, and I was thinking I really want to be kind of darting in and out and around.
Well, that's it. I mean, you'll again. There's other stuff where I saw Colossus to kind of its fullest, and
which we can't talk about yet.
But
but that's a great teaser. Come back.
Yeah, you need to because my God. But yeah, the Ranger, the Ranger's kind of like your run of the mill. It does a bit of everything. The Interceptor's a fast one. The Colossus is the heavy one. The Storm one is like the mage of the group, if you will. But there's a lot there for people that want to go into this with a group. It's going to be the perfect kind of game, and it's very easy to get a gang together and take on this world.
Okay, well, I mean, it does sound like we're kind of teasing people, but it's just the way it works sometimes. We will have so much more on Anthem. This is a game that God is a Geek is going to be covering extensively, but do make sure you subscribe. But hit the bell button as well, because then you'll get the little notification of, hey, there's a new video. What is it? Oh, it's not Anthem related. Well, I'll watch it anyway, because it's cool, and it's about Resident Evil 2, and it looks really interesting and well shot and presented. You know what promotion, self-promotion. Chris, thank you very much for going to play the game, and, we'll see them whenever they choose to listen, but next time we'll be talking a lot more about Anthem. This is kind of just a ramble chat. Go to the website, godisageek.com. You'll see so much more on Anthem. And again, come back real soon. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.